Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and this is episode 831. Now, in the past two episodes, I've just released two sleep sessions, so go ahead and check those out. And on today's episode, we are talking about our standards. The standards that we set for ourselves and how they dictate our success, our abundance, our physical health, our relationships, our career. Look, they dictate everything. Standards are the benchmarks that we set up for ourselves. Now, the problem is that most people have a confusion of where their benchmark should be or where their standard should be. They might have high standards for other people, but because we live in our own mind and live in our own body, we can get a little bit confused as to what is appropriate and what is not really living up to what we want. Now, I'll give you an example, right? So, back at school, I would probably say from 11 to 16, actually going up to 18, when I kind of left secondary school, went to like the 2 years of college that you can do. My standard of success was a C. That was my A, right? If I could only get a C, I've won. Everything's good. Like, I was so happy because that was my benchmark. And it caused me to then only go for that C. Like, it was very hard to go beyond it because I set my agenda, my outcome, on just getting a C. So, if we're going to go ahead and put it into terms of how we feel about ourselves, go ahead and think about the standards that you're setting yourself for. You could go for the easy one, like money. Are you thinking about that money of like, if I just get by, everything's fine. If I just get out of debt, I can breathe, and that's my standard. Because on the same notion, if we're moving away from badness, right, like negativity, we're just getting out of pain to just feel that bit of comfort. And of course, then we get too comfortable, and it causes us to go back into the fire of debt. So if you kind of consider in your mind, like, where is our benchmark? Is it to be just okay? Is that our standard of success? Or is it even below that, just to survive? Just to be in a relationship? You see, you might be consciously going, well, I want the most beautiful, loving, intimate, adventurous relationship consciously. But maybe unconsciously, the standard is, I just need to be able to be in people's company. I just need some form of validation. I just need to people please. I just need attention from someone. That's my standard. That's my drive and motivation for a relationship. Maybe we have a low standard for our health. So the standard could be, well, as long as I get my 5,000 steps in, or if I eat this and that, therefore that's okay. Now, I'm not judging any of these standards, by the way. It's entirely up to you, but what I'd like you to do is realize that these standards are unconscious most of the time. They're our values. They're the things that we hold ourselves accountable for. Not always, but try to. But if they're unconscious and remain unconscious, and we're not living the life that we want, so in other words, we're not getting the results that we want, we're not having the money that we want, we're not having that fulfilling career, we're not having that beautiful, intimate, adventurous relationship, depending on what your criteria of a relationship as an ideal, or if your health isn't exactly where you want it to be, then I want you to put your attention on what is your standard of success. Because you'll be trying to live up to whatever that standard is. Just like me as a kid, my A was a C. If I could only get a C, everything was good. But the problem is, if my benchmark is a C, I'm going to get only a C or something lower, like a D, like an E, and so on. Maybe a U when it's just unmarked. Like, that's my benchmark. I can only really hit that or less. But if I was to put my benchmark up to an A and really work and get out those limiting beliefs of what I could absorb and what I could learn and all those things, I'm going to get an A or a B, maybe a C. But it's a lot better going for that standard of success compared to the former, which was just C or below. So if your standards are set at a certain level, and you could say even your self-value is low, you're only going to attract that into your life, because we can easily transition into our self-esteem. So if your standard for how you see yourself when you look in the mirror, or how you value yourself, is very, very low, then of course you're going to only attract opportunities which are the right energy level of that value. For example, if you don't believe that you're good enough, therefore your value is low, you're only going to probably go for the jobs which you feel meet the criteria of not good enough. Same thing for relationship. If you don't believe you're worthy of a good relationship, well, guess what? That is your standard. So therefore you attract that low level of worth relationship. And once again, we can put this all into every form of category or area of our life. But who enforces those standards? We know where they came from, right? They came from life experience. The things that we were told, the things that we went through, whether it be from what our parents instilled within us, or whether the events that we went through, or how we modeled people. We've talked about this a number of times. Our past is our data that we make judgments upon when we decide on what our belief is. If I go for a bad relationship, that must mean I am not worthy. Or if I didn't do well at school, that means I'm not good enough and I'm not going to get anywhere. All these labels are really standards that we are assuming to be true based on the collection of that data. But if we are continually to enforce it and allow it to be beneath the surface at an unconscious level, we're not doing ourselves any service at all. So once you allow the unconscious to be conscious, you start to then dictate what you want. Where it be just getting out of debt to be okay to breathe, to suddenly go, no, I actually want more than this. I am worthy of more. Where it be $5,000 a month, $10,000, $100,000, whatever it is for you. Same thing for relationships, same thing for career, same thing for our health. You have to decide what your standard of life is going to be. From the self-value, right? So what you believe in yourself. What is your standard for your own happiness? What is your standard for your own identity? To your standard of each one of those areas of your life. Now, I did say it is an unconscious thing. Otherwise, you would click your fingers and you let it go. Just magically have high standards and you'll live up to them. But of course, if we don't believe we're good enough, what are we going to do? Even if we consciously decide, I want to raise up my standard for money, what is your unconscious mind going to do? Well, it's going to self-sabotage you. It's going to trip you up because it doesn't believe that that is possible based on the present standard that you have. So the standards can be around our belief. Your unconscious mind doesn't believe it is possible to achieve X, Y, Z in any area of your life, which dictates the standard that we're going to be having. You see, there are areas in my life that I have higher standards and lower standards. I don't always take care of myself as I probably should do. But I have a higher standard for hopefully my intention anyway, whether you believe this to be true or not. You might go, that's a load of rubbish, Joseph. But I have a high standard of trying to help as many people as possible. Like, I have this desire to try to help people, and that can cause me to overwork, which then guess what happens? Well, my health can be a little bit detrimental, right? It could have a little bit of effect there. And I was actually, by the way, this is being recorded live on YouTube, and I was just saying, look, the last couple of weeks of being jet lagged, under the weather, the server attacks, a new update, I've been working a lot, trying to fight fires or try to help people through this transitioning of the app to be super awesome, hopefully. And that has meant that my health has been a little bit less. In other words, I was working when I was sick. So my standard for being healthy had to stop for a moment. And that's okay, right? I'm not saying that that's a problem, because there's going to be times that some things are going to be lower. And that's what I want to talk to you about right now. Let's just say you have a higher standard, right? Let's say you decide this. You now put a stake in the land, in the ground, and you go, I am ready to earn the money that I desire. Let's just say it's $20,000 every single month. That's your desire, or pick a dream number. Well, the inherent idea of going for a goal or a dream, which is different from where you presently are, will entail the possibility, and most probable, that something will have to take a back seat. Like, you might have to spend more time and even invest money getting to that place, to educate yourself or to release beliefs so you can then get that money. So there may be a decreasing of money that you have because you need to invest into yourself to remove those blocks, or to get educational trainings to be able to do the job that you want, right? It's not all psychological. If you want to be a brain surgeon, the chances are there's no chances in it. You're going to have to go to university and probably pay money to be educated, which means your finances take a less of a standard right now because you're investing. And the same notion of making more money, well, that might entail that you've got to put more time into your business or into your career, and there's only so much time that we have. So therefore, the present standard that you may have with maybe your partner, your husband, your wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, children, all the relationships you have, there may be a decreasing of time there. It's not about life's not about being balanced. It's about having harmony. You see, harmony to me is more free-flowing. Like, sometimes it's over here, sometimes it's over there. Balance is just straight. And the only thing when you're balanced really is that's when we're not really here anymore and we're under the ground. Like, we're just balanced horizontally for a long, long time. Life's not about that. It's about harmony. So sometimes if you're going to raise your standards, you have to be prepared to sometimes lower the energy over time or even the monetary resources to be able to get to where you want to be, and be at peace with that. That is one aspect of getting goals or dreams. There's going to be, and I don't mean this in a negative way in terms of like a negative connotation or energy to it, but you're going to maybe have to make some sacrifices. If you're going to eat healthy, you may, like, your standard of health is now, I'm going to be super healthy. Well, that must mean you're going to probably eat healthier. You're going to prioritize your time in working out more, which therefore will have consequences. Even if those consequences are aches and pains, the food bill going up because you're actually investing in good quality food, or not eating out to dinner as much or drinking as much. There's a consequence there. Whether it be good or bad is up to you to decide. But anytime you change your standard of success or your standard for that goal, there is going to be an effect. Now, the reason why I bring this up is once you become consciously aware of those consequences, you won't have to self-sabotage yourself. You see, your unconscious mind will carry on self-sabotaging you to get that higher standard of success or money, relationship, career, health. It will sabotage you because it doesn't know different based on the data. And also, it may have that inherent fear of that negative consequence. So it's better to trip you up now to get to that goal and stay in this uncomfortable comfort zone, right? What we know is comfortable. What we don't know is uncomfortable. The known territory that we live in is our comfort zone, but going beyond it can be very scary. It's unknown territory. So therefore we might trip up. We might go, this could happen. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if I look silly? What if I get rejected? Well, to avoid all that pain, isn't it just better to not do anything? Because therefore you won't get rejected. Therefore you won't be not good enough or look silly and all those things. So your unconscious mind is trying to hold you back to the standard that you've always lived or where you've resided for a long time. It thinks that this place is safe. It thinks that this comfortable zone is going to be the best place for you, especially if we now factor in those consequences of giving up certain things to get to where we want to be. Like, it can be very scary to invest money in yourself, which will ultimately further your career or further your emotional happiness. It is scary to do that. But if your unconscious mind keeps that scaredness, that fear, then we're never going to progress. So once you become at peace with those things, that you may invest money or time, or there may be some buybacks when it comes to working things out and negotiating with your family, that I've got to spend a little bit of time here, but I promise you, when it comes to this time of the day or this time of the week, my full attention is on you. There's things you can do to navigate this. It doesn't have to be hard. It just has to be different. You just have to operate differently from where you presently are. Whether that be your mindset, whether that be your feelings, whether that be your actions, or whether it be in your environment with those people in your life. It doesn't have to be bad. It just has to be different. Because if you carry on doing the same thing that you've always done, it is the same standard that we're living up to. But if we're going to bridge that gap, heighten our standard, we just want to have an open communication of ourselves with our unconscious mind, with our family, to go, look, things are going to change. Because I know, even though it's scary to say invest, or scary to go out there dating, or go out there, go for that job interview, or to work on that fear or belief that you're having, even though it's scary, it's okay. That's evolution. We want to grow. We don't grow in times of peace. Be at peace with that. But you gotta get uncomfortable sometimes. You gotta feel the fear and do it anyway, like the book. You've gotta go beyond your present level of standard of success. Otherwise, it will dictate your happiness. You won't dictate it. Your standards, your values will continually attract those situations into your life. I'm a firm believer in it. I'm just a biology. Whatever you set your mind to, your unconscious mind looks for more. It just seeks more of the same data. So if that standard of data you're feeding into the computer, it's just going to spit out on the other side the same level of standard and data. You want to be able to go, I'm going to feed into this computer brain of mine a new level of success, a new level of outcome, and actually come up with ways of how to get there while simultaneously undoing those wired beliefs at an unconscious level. It is totally possible, because I don't go for C's anymore. Not that I'm at school or anything, but my standard of success is I'm trying to go way beyond the A when it comes to whatever I do. And sometimes it may mean it may have an effect on areas of my life, like the last 2 weeks or so, with all the server issues, the migration, the new app, the titles, the functionality, all those things. It has created a difference in areas of my life, but I'm at peace with it. I'm at peace because I'm harmonious in the outcome of where I'm heading, even if there is resistance. I know every time you change a business, anytime you add something new, something is going to have some counter resistance, even if it's by the few. I'm okay with that. It's about the ability to adapt and to learn and to grow to get to where you want to be. So be very conscious of the standards that you're setting yourself. And on a side notion, the standards you set for yourself will inherently become the standards of those in your life. For example, if you have a standard for your esteem that is low, and you have children in your life, well, they're going to model that. And you might go, no, Joseph, that's impossible. Well, 93% of communication is all unconscious. You may say all the words correctly, but if your physiology, your tone, your stress, you're not going out there, all those things, you're passing that information on. And even if you want more evidence, think about where maybe some of our limiting beliefs came from. They could have come from our parents or the authority figures in our life growing up. So your standard can also be a standard for those in your life. Another example, let's say your standard of living is presently right now spending your money on going out and social. Like, by the way, that's not bad. Like, if that's the thing you want to do, but let's just say you want to improve your life. Say you now consciously decide that is not the direction that you want. But if your standard is to be there still, well, guess what? The friends and the family or the people you socialize are going to expect that, and they're going to feed that back. Right or wrong, it doesn't matter. You get to decide the standards. Otherwise, if you don't, other people will, or other people will model it. Otherwise, the world will just keep on showing you the same data that you're projecting out there as a standard. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can make changes, just like me. Just like the people I work with, just like all the people around you in your life, or the books that you've read of all the successes, people have gone through whatever you're going through, even bigger issues than you. I'm very sure of that they've managed to overcome. So if they can do it, you have the ability to do so too. So what I would take away from this, if anything, is number one, your unconscious mind is setting certain standards of living in different areas of your life, which may be absolutely something that you don't want. Number two, whatever standard that you set yourself, you're going to either get that or something less. So just to remind you, when I was at school, C was my pass. That was my A ultimately. If I could only get a C, well, I only got C's and D's at school. Even an E got thrown in there, I think. But if I now make my standard an A for real living life, and even back then I made it, that was my standard, I would have upped my game to get A, B, or C. So remember, the standards you set, you're usually, not always, but usually you're going to get that or something less. And remember, these standards come from our beliefs based on the data that we've accumulated, the events that we've gone through. And also remember, the standards you set yourself will also be standards that could be for other people in your life. In other words, for the children, if you have children, they will model it. Or the standards you set yourself may mean characters and friends of maybe people who aren't always that good. It could be let's backtrack. As an example, if your standard for your relationship is I am not good enough, you're going to attract someone who's going to take advantage of that. They're going to see that level of standard. So where it be friends, where it be the bosses, where it be the jobs, where it be the career, the finances, whatever standard you set yourself, and let's just say it's not the highest of standard, you're going to get that or something less than that. But if you raise your standard, magical things will happen. But be at peace, because the other thing I said was that there may be some resistance. It's okay, it's part of a journey, so be at peace of some so-called negative consequence of putting time into transitioning to the success, or even money. Be at peace with that. See it as an investment, not a cost, but but an investment to living the life that you want, or having the career that you want, or having the relationship you want, all of those things. And then I think, what else? Did I say something else right near the end there? I think that's pretty much it. If not, you can always re-listen to this. But just all in all, remember the standards you set yourself for even others, for areas of your life, you're going to get that back. So it's time to undo the limiting beliefs behind that so you can live the life that you want. It is possible. There are examples out there of people having done so. Now, of course, if you ever need my personal help to undo the limiting beliefs, you can apply for my full 8-week customized program. It is really about the beliefs not being good enough, worthy, and deserving, just undoing them, just letting them go at a deep unconscious level. Go to josephclough.info/talk and we'll get clear. We'll get on a call with you. It'll be like a one-to-one call. Get clear on what you want to let go of, what you want to achieve, what's getting in the way, and we'll come up with a plan. If you're a good fit, we might invite you into the program. That is an investment, of course, because it's fully customized. The things we have in it is, in my opinion, just magical, like just transformations. And weirdly enough, amazing things happen beyond what you thought was possible. Like that ripple effect in different areas of your life just show up differently. So once again, that is josephclough.info/talk if you want to book a call with a team on that one-to-one, and see if you're a good fit to live a life absolutely transformed. And of course, if you are enjoying the app, even just the free sections, there's episode 831. I'm happy to carry on doing it, but if we get feedback on the app and like how it's helped you and how it can help others, it just means I can invest more into it, I can do more, put more time into things. I just wanted your feedback, and you do that by reviewing the app in the App Store. In the brand new version of the app, there's a little, like a tab where you can click, and it should be able to take you to the App Store of a device that you're on. But thank you ever so much for being with me today, and I look forward to speaking to you on a future episode. Many thanks, and goodbye.